Looking out of my kitchen window. Looking out my kitchen window today, I read this quote. It I didn't just read it, I felt it. It said, challenges are gifts that force us to reach and search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight it, just find a new way to stand. You see, this quote, it landed somewhere deep inside of me. Have you ever read something that it wasn't just the words that you were listening to, but it hit inside? You know, in a place that was needed. It seemed to reach through the noise of my life and grab me by the shoulder and made me stop and made me stand and made me listen and say, this is where I'm at and this is what I need. It can be very uncomfortable because maybe it was a place where you wasn't ready to even look at that. Maybe you have been ignoring it, that thing, the thing that you felt. But I can hear it say, this is for you, right here, right now. And today, those words were for me. Let me repeat it. Challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them. Just find a new way to stand. Because lately, I've been trying to find a new way to stand. For a few weeks now, I've been taking medical tests because of changes happening in my body. Changes I did not ask for, changes that have brought discomfort, changes that have brought pain, changes that have caused me to pay attention to parts of my body that I may have not been paying close attention enough to. And yes, I've been praying. I've been doing exactly what the medical professors have told me to do. I've been showing up for appointments, taking tests, asking questions, and doing my own research, making personal changes where I can, and I'm doing what I know to do. But let me tell the truth, because that is what we do here as we look out the kitchen window. When something changes in your life and it doesn't appear as if those changes is for the better, fear will try to creep into your mind. Fear does not always knock loudly. Sometimes it whispers, what if? What if the tests say this? What if it gets worse? What if my life has changed? And what if I cannot do what I used to do? The what if, the what if, the what if. And maybe you know it. You are standing in that place today too. You are standing, but your mind is holding all the what ifs. You are standing in a tomorrow that haven't even came yet. You are fighting a battle that has not even been diagnosed. You are grieving an outcome that has not even occurred. You are carrying the weight of an answer that you have not even received. Have you ever been there? Well, I had to stop myself and I had to say, Venetia, come back. Come back to this moment, to this presence. Come back to this breath. Come back to what you know. And come back to what you can do. And come back to God and to yourself. Because fear will have you living in a future that does not even exist. while missing the life that is still happening right now, right here today. And maybe that is why this quote hit me so hard, that challenges are gifts that force us to reach for a new center of gravity. Don't fight it. Just find a new way to stand. Now, let me be very clear. I am not saying that pain feels like a gift. I am not saying that sickness feels like a gift. I am not saying that losing a job, ending a relationship, facing financial hardship, bearing and saying goodbye to someone you love is a gift, that it is a beautifully wrapped present. No. Challenges hurt. They break your heart, cause you to feel frightened, cause you to be angry. Some challenges make you question everything you thought you knew. So when I say a challenge can be a gift, I am not glorifying suffering. I am saying that sometimes the gift is hidden inside what the challenges forces us to discover. A strength we did not know we had or even forgotten. A truth we have been avoiding. A boundary we should have set a long time ago, not just with others, but with ourselves. A relationship we have outgrown. A pace we can no longer maintain. A body we need to listen to. Maybe the dream has changed, and maybe we need to rethink it and realign ourselves. Sometimes the challenge is not the gift, it is the discovery of it. Always sometimes have a way of staying around even when it's time for them to let go. I started thinking about the words center of gravity. Your center of gravity helps you maintain balance mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. You see, things shift and we have to adjust. We have to adjust because we can no longer stay in a place where that foundation is crumbling. You have to shift, you have to move because your life is demanding it. For years, you may have known how to stand, but something has changed. And now you have to change with it. You have to change the way that you look at your life, how you are aligning your life with the changes. For years, you may have asked when people asked you, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. And it wasn't the truth. You was not fine. But now your balance is off and things is changing. So you must change. And suddenly you find yourself no longer able to stand because your balance is off. What worked 30 years ago does not work now. What worked maybe 50 years ago does not work now that you're in your 60s or 50s or 40s or even 70s. What worked before the relationship ended does not work any longer. What worked when you were surviving may not work when God is constantly telling you it's time to live. It's time to live different because what used to be is not going to work now. We say, I used to be able to do this. Yes, you did. Maybe the question is no longer, how do I get back to what I used to be? Maybe the question is, who am I becoming now? Oh, that's a different question. Maybe sometimes we spend so much energy and so much time trying to get back the old life that we do not recognize that life is asking us to change, to shift into a new rhythm, a new pace, set a new boundary, a new priority, a new way to stand. And here we go with science. Science has a way of explaining some things differently. There's a scientific reason uncertainty can feel so uncomfortable. The brain is constantly trying to predict the next outcome. Predictability helps us feel safe and comfortable. Routine helps us to keep our brain conserving energy. Familiarity, even when it's not always good for us, can feel safer, and uncertainty can feel fearful. But when something changes unexpectedly, the brain may interpret it as a possible threat. That is why you can receive one piece of uncertain information and suddenly your brain creates 20 possible endings. The brain says, I don't know what's happening, so let me prepare for everything. The problem is that preparing can quickly become overwhelming. You start with something has changed in your brain. And 5 minutes later, your brain begins to write, produce, and direct an entire movie about the most and the worst possible outcome. I know because I do it all the time. But there's something else that science also teaches us. The brain can adapt. It is known as neuroplasticity. And you have heard me use that term if you've been listening to me for a while. Our brain can form and strengthen new patterns over time. That means we are not completely trapped in our first fearful thought. We can learn to pause, to breathe, and to rethink it. We can learn new coping strategies, develop new routines. We can strengthen healthier responses, and we can practice bringing ourselves back to the present. In other words, the mind can also learn a new way to stand. That is another powerful truth. Our bodies and our minds are so connected. They're one, really. When we experience ongoing fear and stress, the body may respond with increased muscle tension. You can feel it in your shoulders, in your arms, in your legs, changes in our sleep patterns. We have difficulty concentrating. That does not mean that every symptom is stress. It means that stress can cause those symptoms. And certainly, it does not mean that we should ignore symptoms or replace medical care with positive thinking. No, we need to see our doctors, take the test, ask the questions, follow professional medical guidance, and advocate for ourselves. But while the medical professionals are doing what they are trying to do, we must also care for the part of ourselves that is carrying the uncertainty. Okay? Because sometimes our body is being tested while your mind is imagining the worst and your spirit is trying to hold on. You know? So listen, maybe the challenge is asking you to listen because I had to ask myself, what is this season asking me to pay attention to? Not why is this happening to me, but what do I need right now? Maybe I need some rest. Maybe I need to slow down. Not saying that I stop enjoying the things that I enjoy, because those are also helpful. in any transition, in any realignment that you're going through. Maybe I need to allow someone to help me, okay? And maybe I need to take better care of the body that has carried me through all these years, okay? We live in a world that constantly tells us, keep going, keep moving, keep doing, work harder, be strong. But sometimes strength is not pushing through. Sometimes strength is sitting down, reflecting, relaxing, even planning. Sometimes strength is taking the test, even though you're afraid of the results. And sometimes strength is saying, I don't know what is going to happen, but I will not abandon myself while I wait. That is strength too. And faith. Faith does not mean that I don't fear fear. Sometimes faith is me saying, just have faith in this moment. And yes, I believe in prayer, and I believe in the power of prayer and God. I believe that God is still God, even when I don't understand, even when I may be confused or even angry. I believe that faith does not mean that I never have to experience fear. No, faith means fear does not get to be the Lord in my life. It does not get to be my God that I bow down to. Fear may visit, but faith will be there. Fear may try to whisper, but faith will speak back. It's a scripture in Isaiah 41:10 that says, faith, fear not, for I am with you. Notice that God does not say that you will not fear. He said that God, your creator, will be with you. That changes everything because sometimes things are not immediately removed because of uncertainty. Sometimes we have to stand in our faith and we have to ask our God, teach us how to stand right here. Teach us how to stand when I do not have the answers. Teach me how to stand while I am waiting. Teach me how to stand when I am changing. Okay? Teach me how to stand in my peace and with the people that love me. Because maybe faith is not always standing tall, with your hands raised up, declaring that you are not afraid. Maybe faith is standing with trembling knees and saying, God, I am afraid, but I am still here and I am still standing. Sometimes faith is crying and praying at the same time. Faith is going to the appointment, asking the hard questions. Faith is changing your habits. And faith is even saying, I need help to even take the next step. And let's talk about a couple of ways that we can stand in our new. First, we have to acknowledge what has changed. Stop pretending that nothing has changed when something clearly has. Name it. Say something is different. Maybe your body has changed, your relationship, your family has changed, your dreams have changed, and even your capacity and energy has changed. Acknowledging the change is not saying we're defeated. It's telling the truth. You cannot adjust to something you refuse to acknowledge. Ask yourself, what has changed in my life? What am I feeling about this change? And what am I afraid of this change? And why? And what will I do about it? Remember, what do you know about yourself? And stand there. Secondly, what about adjusting your center of gravity? When life shifts, you may need to shift too. This is not weakness, this is wisdom. Maybe you need a new routine, a different schedule. Maybe you need professional support, second opinions in relationships, second opinion in health. Maybe you need to set a boundary or readjust a boundary. Maybe you need to spend more time in prayer. And maybe you need a stronger support system. Adjust. Adjust so you can begin to move your feet in a direction of your hope and healing. Ask yourself, what adjustment will help me more in this season? And then anchor yourself in what remains. When everything feels uncertain, find your anchors. For me, one of those anchors is my faith. Another is my truth. Another is love. Another is family. Another is my gifts, my talents that bring me so much joy. I understand that some things I have to anchor to keep me supported. And remember, I have stood in this place before, and you have too. You have stood in places where you didn't know what would be the end result. Yes, I stood, and yet I was not untouched. I was not unchanged. I did have scars, but I'm here just like you. Your anchor could be your prayer, family, community therapy, wise counsel, medical support, whatever helps bring you back to your truth. Use it. But be careful what you anchor yourself to. Do not anchor yourself with fear. Do not anchor yourself with the worst scenarios in your mind. Do not anchor yourself to people who increase your anxiety or situations. Do not anchor yourself to what is true, loving, and life giving to yourself. So today, as we look out the window, we are learning a new way to stand. We're not going to pretend we have no concerns. We do. We are not going to pretend that we have all the answers because we don't. We are not going to pretend that every moment of this journey feels peaceful because it doesn't. But we are learning something. We know that we must take the next step, that we can pray, that we have faith, and even ask the questions, that we can trust God and listen to our medical profession. We can believe for the best and still make wise changes in our life. We can even look at it as an adventure that is all new, that we're learning different things about ourselves, about our lives, what we like, and that what no longer supports us, that what no longer anchors us or aligns with the season in our life. And perhaps this new center that we are entering into is not denial, it's not fear, it's not pretending, it's trust, it's faith, it's grace, and it's wisdom. Maybe we do not need to fight every change simply because it's unfamiliar. Maybe we can become curious. What are we going to be learning in the season of our life? What will we be discovering about ourselves? What do we need to pay attention to? What do we need to stop doing? And that's all right too. And what and who are we becoming? Because challenges can shift the ground beneath our feet, almost like we're losing our footing. But shifting ground does not always mean that life is ending. It means that we're being invited to find a new way to stand. And as you're listening here today, and if the ground is shifting beneath you and your life feels uncertain, and if you're waiting on test results, your body is changing, your relationships are changing, and your children are growing up, and those relationships have changed. And if you're grieving, or even starting different parts of your life over, and if you're standing there in places you never expected yourself to be, I want you to hear this. You do not have to figure out everything today. Breathe, take a breath, tell yourself the truth, get the help you need, make the adjustments you need to make, ask the questions you need to ask, and take that next step. And give yourself grace while you learn how to stand in a place you have never stood before. Never. You are not weak because your knees are shaking. You are not faithless because you have questions. You're not failing because you need to change your plans. And maybe, just maybe, this new center, the new way that you're learning to stand as we're looking out the kitchen window, is something that will bring you strength for your journey. But you're still praying, you're still believing, you're still enjoying your life, and you're learning. And what if, as everything changed, you are whispering to God and yourself, I have wisdom and I have grace in this season, and I will learn to stand. Strength is not always standing the way you used to. Sometimes strength is having the courage to find a new way to stand. Okay? So until next time, this is Venetia, and I'm wishing you and praying strength for your journey as you find your new footing. We're standing here looking out the kitchen window as we look in to our lives.